Hi, in this video we will demonstrate how sorter transformation works. So, sorter transformation, it's an active transformation and a connected. So, there are transformations which are connected and unconnected. So, as an active transformation, the number of records are changed when they are passed through a transformation. So that is the simple definition of an active transformation. The number of records are getting changed. So let's take a small demonstration. Let's say this is my source. From here I am getting from here I am getting 10 records. Now in between I have placed a sorter transformation. Let's say I have placed a sorter transformation. This is my target table. So when the records are coming, 10 records are coming, and when they are passing through this sorter transformation, it could be a scenario the data would be loaded to my target table would be 15 in count, or it could be 5 in count. So as an active transformation, number of records which are coming from my source passing through a transformation and gets loaded into a target are changed. It might be increased or it might be decreased depending on the active transformation which we are using. So that is what a simple definition of an active transformation. Second, the name itself suggests it sorts the data in ascending or descending order. By default, it sorts the data in ascending order. If you want to sort the data in descending order, so you have to hit the descending in the key option, which we will see. The third one is sorter transformation eliminates duplicate records. Because of this property, the sorter transformation is an active transformation. Also, sorter transformation can do case sensitive sorting. So it can also perform case sensitive sorting. So which we will see. So these are the four properties which a sorter transformation has. We will demonstrate each one by one. So the naming convention for every transformation. So for sorter transformation is SRT underscore. In between, we can give any meaningful name which we want to give. So meaningful name. Now it has three ports. Input port. So input port means the data is received from upstream. Output ports. Output ports means the data which is sent to downstream. And there is one more port which says key port. So with this key port, we can sort the data in ascending or descending order respectively. So these are the three ports naming convention we have seen. So let's try to see a small demonstration of a sorter transformation practically. So source table which I would be using would be customer underscore source. I have some dummy data, and my target table I would be using is, so let's say, this is the source schema. So select all from customer underscore source. So if I'll execute this query, so this is my source schema. So if I'll come to target table, so if you don't know the target table for the practice purpose, so select star from tab where tname, like you can use the like operator and the person. So let's go for SRT. Let's execute this query. So this is the table name which I would be running the query data load. So let's remove this and run this. So this is the target table where I don't see any data. So I need to pick from one schema and I need to load the data. So for first of all, so my target table is this. So first of all, we'll demonstrate a property which says eliminating duplicate records. So let's go to my designer tool. Let's try to import my source import from database. So your assign all the username passwords given to you. It's a one-time process, and connect let's use my source as customer underscore source. So my source has been imported. Let's go to my target designer, and in spite of stage we have a schema called star over here, and let's assign the password as well. And if you're unsure, click on any target database and just type srt. It will take you to that table. So source structures and target structures are in place. Let's start designing the mapping. So this is the source. Let's drag the source. It is asking your mapping name. So m underscore, let's say this is my sorter example. So source qualifier, and let's drag in my target table. Let's enhance for a better view. Now I would be using, as a ETL developer, you always have to focus on your target structure. So what are the ports which are coming from my source? Are there any ports which needs to be populated with some data which is not coming from my source? At the moment, I can demonstrate all my ports from my source, and my target ports are appropriate or similar in nature. So let's use a transformation called sorter. Press S, keep on pressing S until it pops up. So the naming convention. So first what we will see, so let's see a distinct property how to use, because of which the sorter transformation is a active transformation. Pull all the ports from the upstream source qualifier respectively to my target table. Double click on sorter transformation, go to the properties tab. So the first property says distinct. Say OK and save your mapping. So check your mapping is valid. Yes, my mapping is valid. Copy the mapping name. So we'll go to workflow. So the naming convention, we would be creating a new workflow. So let's say this is the workflow, and within workflow I would be attaching a session name. So let's create a task naming convention, appropriately assign the mapping. Then we will link the task. Double click on your task, go to your mapping tab. Source is coming from my state schema. Target is my star schema, and change bulk to normal. We'll see why we are doing this. We are just inserting the data, so no update, no delete at the moment, and I'm check marking on truncate property. What this property says is, before loading the data to my target table, whatever data is available in my target table, the entire data would be truncated, and then the fresh data which is being extracted from the source will be loaded to my target table. So we would be running this n number of times, so we need to see the data in one go. So that's why I'm doing a check mark on this. Let's say OK. Let's save this and just cross validate whether your workflow is valid or not. Yes, my workflow is valid. So let's right click and start your workflow. Come to your monitor tool. So this is running. Do a double click on this session. Come to the statistics. So if you'll see from your source, 20 records have been read, 16 records have been written. If you'll go to the target schema, earlier there was no data in my target table. Now if I'll execute this query, I can find there is some data to my target table. So if you want to demonstrate what is the count, just right click and say count rows. It means that the number of records which are coming from my source to target are getting changed. But if you demonstrate line number 1 and line number 2, it has identical data throughout the row. It means that only the first name and last name is changed. In the sense, the case sensitive is there, because of which it is considering this to be a separate data and this to be a separate data. So in order to handle that, what we can do is we can go to the case sensitive sorting. So let's do a double click on my sorter transformation. So here case sensitive, so I'll ignore the case sensitive. Apply the changes, save this, refresh the mapping so that the changes can be absorbed, and let's re-execute the workflow. Come to your monitor tool. So again, if you'll see earlier, there were 16 records were loaded. Now 15 records have been loaded. So the data has changed. Let's run this query. Now if you'll see, only my 101 from my source, I had 6 records of 101. So only one record has been loaded. So it is ignoring the case sensitive, and we are eliminating the duplicate records. So these are the two properties which we have seen. So let's try to see the data which we can sort in ascending or descending order respectively. So what I'll do is, so I have a department 50, then I have department 20, then I have 30, then I have 10. So let's go a sorting, do a double click, and let's go to, so just let's remove these properties, and let's go to the ports. Now I'll go for department number, and I'll say by default when you check mark this, ascending. So let's keep in ascending. Let's say okay, save this. Whenever you do the changes in the mapping, always absorb the changes while do refresh mapping and re-execute the workflow. So it is getting executed. So if you'll see now, 20 records have been read, 20 records have been written. Now the behavior of my transformation is a passive, but the transformation still is an active transformation. So if I'll run this query, if you see the data, so it is sorted first my department number 10, then afterwards my department number 20, then afterwards department 30, and so on. Let's do our vice versa. So what I'll do is I'll go for descending keyword. Let's do the save. Let's come over here. Let's refresh this and re-execute the task. So it is again executing, successfully executed. Let's go over here and let's rerun the query. Now if you will see the data, so now I have my 50 department data, after that 30 department data, after that 20, and after that 10. So this is how the department number, so my data is getting sorted by the keyword ascending or descending. So what if I want to sort the data on two ports? Let's take an example, department number, and then the port is, let's say, fname. So how we write a order by SQL, order by query. So whenever we write a SQL query, and whenever we write, so there would be, let's say, select star from, let's say, table name, and we say order by department number, and we say employee, let's say employee number. So whenever we specify more than one column in my order by clause, so the ordering happens sequentially. It means that first the sorting, so if I say by default it is ascending, if I say descending, and here if I say ascending. So first sorting will happen on this column, and that would be descending. By default it is ascending, no need to specify. And in department number, if I have multiple occurrences of my department number, then it will jump to my second column and it will sort the data in ascending order. Let's see a small data. So I will say department number, and let's say this is my employee number. So this is the data which is coming, department 20, let's say 101, let's say department 50, let's say 102, let's say department number 20 again, and here I will say 103, and I'll take, let's say, one more 50, and I'll take 101, and let's take an example of department 10, and let's say 101, just to give a small example. So when I write this query, how the behavior would be. So this is employee number, so I'll just copy these column names and let's put the data. So the data would be sorted like this. So it would be, so department number is in descending order, so I'll have my 50s. Okay, so 50s in the sense, so department number 50 over here and 50 over here, these two records will get sorted descending. Now if you see, it has two occurrences of same, but if you jump to the second column, we have say ascending. But first over here is 102 and second is 101. So the second column would be sorted like this, 101, and 102, which means that my first column would take a preference in the column as descending, and if I have multiple occurrence, then it will jump to my second column and it would take the appearance as ascending. So the sorting happens sequentially. So the same thing happens in Informatica as well. Let's try to demonstrate that. So what I'll do is I want to sort first on department number, then I want to sort on, let's say, employee number. So that is my first name. So if you do this sorting, so how sorter transformation behaves in Informatica, so how the sequence is in sorter transformation, it will sort the data in that manner. It means that first my first name will get sorted, then my department number. But this is not what I want as an output. I want my first department number to get sorted, then my F name. So to achieve that, what I will do is I'll just take this department number ahead of my first name, which means that first my department number will get sorted on the basis of department number in descending and then my F name. Let's see. Save this. Let's come over here. Let's do a refresh and let's do a re-execution. So successfully executed. So I'm just worried about few columns. So I'm worried with which column? Let's say department number and my employee number. So let's write these two columns and let's evaluate the data. So if you'll see, first my department number is on 50. So I'm sorry, in spite of this, I should have taken F name. Let's re-execute this query and let's not write this, which is not required. So if you'll see, first my department number 50 has given the preference because we have written sorting and descending. Now if you'll go to the second port, so now all the names are starting with S, so there is no change. But if you'll come to 30, so department number 30, I have six record or some records, so it has multiple occurrences. So it will jump to my second column and it will take the behavior of ascending. That's how the ports are sorted sequentially in my sorter transformation. I guess you are clear with sorter transformation. So this was the sorter transformation. Hope you would have understood this. If any queries, do write a mail on smitsytechnologies@gmail.com. Thank you.